Well, welcome to VideoMy podcast. We're here at ATC. Exciting times.
It's great. Thanks, David. I'm Craig, and we have got industry expert Trevor Vas with us to chat all things AI and the evolution of it. So welcome, Trevor.
Thank you, and thank you both.
Hey.
It's lovely to see you again, David. It's been a long-term relationship that we've had. It's wonderful that you're here.
Yeah, and I'm really excited for the ATC 2025. And one of the questions I wanted to ask is the emergence of AI. The last few years, it has been spoken about, but it seems like it's in every conversation at ATC. And I'd love to just hear your thoughts on where it's at the moment, and potentially will this theme continue into next year as well?
Oh, look, great question. And so let me talk about two things. Firstly, Simon Townsend and I, through TCS, we created a topic called Talent Advisory about 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. We had held a series of focus groups with people in the industry, internal talent people, and also RPOs and consultants, just talking about the evolution of the job. And when we talked about it, I think, and we introduced skills like influencing, creativity, strategic thinking, critical thinking, people sort of accepted it more on face value than on reality. Mm-hmm. What we're seeing now in presentations and discussions is that those things are coming to fruition. People are starting to understand that it's not just taking a rec, filling a rec anymore. There's much more involved, and understanding and asking a hiring manager or the business, David, how will work get done?
Yep.
What are our options that we could consider? I've done some research, and part of that research, I've got some ideas, but I just want to challenge you with, do we need to hire the traditional person? Could we do it in a blended way, a different way? Do we have anyone internally? So that now is becoming more and more commonplace. And you know, Craig, that I've been sort of playing with this idea of talent advisory. We did podcasts on it 2 years ago.
Yeah.
The other change I noticed, and this was an interesting one which we discussed earlier, in 2023 I was helping an organisation to understand their value proposition. Why did they not fill this data scientist role? Sydney-based insurance company. And the head of talent was getting some grief from IT.
Right.
I mean, why aren't you filling this? So I gave this person some data from AI. I created a whole lot of prompts on this, and I compared their value proposition to the value proposition of a data scientist working in Sydney. And I looked at the level of experience, the type of things that they wanted this person to do, to what was in the market and what other organisations were doing. And what came out was they were not competitive.
Right.
They needed to either go down and hire a business analyst, or alternatively recognise that this job, because they're not the premium place to work for a data analyst, they needed to change the value proposition and increase the salary.
Yes.
Isn't it amazing just 2 years ago that this person, who you're obviously not going to divulge the company name or person, was maybe stuck, confused with the information at hand, and you had the cheat code, you had AI back then, but that is what everyone's doing today, isn't it?
It's amazing. Like even last year at ATC, there was a presentation where a lot of people were sort of I suppose looking in a negative way at the onset of AI in our function, but the whole attitude I think has changed, particularly this year, where people want to embrace and want to learn more, and the curiosity's there, which is something that I think's been missing.
We measure curiosity. I think that is such an important thing. Curiosity and collaboration, the two C's, are going to be so important, not only for recruiters or talent advisors, but for all of us.
Yeah.
And the relationship with AI.
Yes.
As a partner. It seems like everyone's going to be partnering.
I think you use a great word then, Dave, like partner. People are looking at AI as a partner now, not a competitor, within our function, because it was, oh my God, I'm going to be replaced. But now it's more, how can we partner with AI to be better and evolve, because no one likes doing the repetitive, non-automated work that we do. You ask any recruiter, what do you hate most about your job? It's that stuff that is just repetitive. And there's an ability now to take all of that away, be more strategic, more proactive opposed to reactive. It's really interesting.
Well, I mean, there's only one caveat to what you're saying, Craig, and I totally agree with what you're saying. On face value, everyone will say that. But there's also a fear of being strategic. There's a fear of influencing, and there's safety in being transactional.
Why do you think that is, Trevor?
Some people just don't want to change, or don't like the fact of change, or are not confident being strategic. I see it in some of the solutions that we provide in terms of align to achieve. For me to be able to get people to be curious about the products, no problem, but then to think strategically, I can really tell where some people, and you've seen it, Craig, some people really get it and can think strategically, and other people struggle a little bit. It's a different paradigm.
Yeah.
And that whole notion, I mean, you've heard, David, I need a seat at the table. How many times have you heard that expression from talent? And I find that a bit sad that people don't automatically assume they've got that. They don't. My view when they say that is if you want a seat at the table, you need to bring a chair.
Yep. And I also think that, like you talk about resistance to change, it's also ingrained a little bit in generations too. I think as we're working more and more with people who are native AIs, they've been brought up with it, that propensity to be scared of the AI element will dissipate, and we're going to have people saying, right, let's bring it in, how can we make it better? As opposed to some people, and even some people who are attending here still, I've spoken to have said, oh, you know what, ask me, I do it better. I've got a wealth of experience. I can say, do it better than any technology out there. And that's not entirely true. But we're seeing the paradigm change and shift.
Well, I mean, the question I typically ask a person is, what's been the greatest change in your life? Now, it can be getting married, it can be buying your first home, be having your first child. I mean, David, what's been the greatest change in your life?
That's a great question, Trevor. I was just thinking about that. And I'd have to say it was a big shift getting married and being committed to having a family. That was a big one for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
really
imagine if you had a job and you've had that job for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, but the significant component of that job is now changing. And you've got to accept that you can move into a more strategic role, a more partnering role, the words that we used before, a role where you need to be curious about how work gets done. And you think, is that something I can do? How confident am I going to be? What hiring manager would I try that with first? Where are my safe relationships?
We just came off hearing from Kevin, and there was a number of takeaways. He spoke about being a voracious learner. And I think being curious and needing to skill is really obvious to me.
I often find being in the industry that we're in, which is working with an unpredictable product, okay? People, unpredictable. You'd think that we'd be more open to that change and more open to different things impacting. I still think that our industry is a little bit of an outlier in how we have adapted or adopted change with AI. It's been too slow. But I think we're catching up at a rapid rate.
We need to.
Can we just talk a little bit about the future? I know we can't talk forever. I feel like we could. Yeah. But have you got any idea of what's in store for 2026 ATC? I'm curious to know, where are you sourcing the next great speaker, or where are you looking for inspiration on this year's impact, right?
Look, you've asked a really good question. What was going through my mind as Kevin was speaking, and in fact, why we talked about the contingent event was because I instigated that, because we've got an event happening. I think we need to blend the styles of the two and start to introduce more about this. How can we get people comfortable with working on multiple jobs in multiple areas, understanding that they may not have their traditional role forevermore? I think we need to get people comfortable having those more strategic conversations with hiring managers, and maybe even do a workshop. What occurred to me, look, this is crazy, Joe doesn't even know this yet. Should we
heard it first.
Should we get some strategic hiring managers in here and do some workshops, some round tables, where we start asking them about how do they think work will get done, and practice some of those things in a safe environment that people could then take back to their workplaces? I mean,
I agree, because Kevin is great. He's very, very good at communicating.
He flies at 30,000 feet.
He does, and it's like there are probably people in the audience thinking, how do I have this conversation?
They're down in the weeds and they're saying, how do we get the whippersnipper out here and make something work?
But bridging that gap is a great concept. Let's get her over the line, Kev, with Joe. That'd be great.
You help me?
I'll help you do anything.
You're wonderful.
We should go and do it now.
Thank you for talking with me. Seriously, when I sat down, I didn't quite know where it was going, and I've really enjoyed it. And I hope the words that we've used today will be helpful to other people.
Thanks, Trevor. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.